The Truth Girls.
Hi everyone. So, a man by the name of Edgar Madison Welch busted into Comet Pizza on the 4th of December with a gun. Basically, the guy was convinced that the owner of the pizza shop was running like a child trafficking operation out of his store. And so he went down there to find out if it was true. He looked everywhere and he didn't find anything. Okay, first of all, I've been covering this story about Pizzagate. I've been telling you, the emails are definitely suspicious. The logos are suspicious. Elephantis' Instagram account is suspicious. But suspicious is not the same thing as proof. Now, this guy went in there. I would say this is a very bad thing to do based on anything that you hear on the internet. Go in somewhere with a gun to investigate a rumor. It had been done before in a more civil way, as posted on We Are Change. Well, these guys went down there without guns and asked the owner some questions, and he gave them a tour. And they didn't see anything in there that was, what you would call evidence. Now, this guy was so worried about what could be going on there that he went in there with the gun. Now, this is a problem on many levels. Number one, he's worried about children being abused, but he goes in there with a gun. I'm pretty sure that all the kids that were in there were probably pretty traumatized to see a guy, showing up with a weapon while they were having pizza. Two, this is now being used by the media as more proof that fake news needs to be shut down. Although, the whole Pizzagate thing in general, or the original basis of it wasn't fake. People were asking legitimate questions about emails, the logos, and why this guy who owns a family-friendly restaurant has all this really inappropriate stuff on his Instagram. But it did, like I said in another video though, it turned into conspiracy bloat, and people were adding things. Some of those things, which I covered in my other videos, I think are either misunderstandings, disinformation, misinformation, or sometimes even hoax. So it's not all entirely without basis, but it kind of reminds me of high school, you hear a rumor about somebody. Oh, so-and-so kissed this guy. Next thing, she slept with him. And then before you know it, everyone's saying that she's pregnant. You had the emails and you have the Instagram. And then the next thing people are declaring that James Alefantis eats babies with Hillary Clinton. So, the media is going to use this incident here as a reason to promote, the censorship of the internet, which is too bad because, of course, along with fake news and rumors, a lot of just alternative views will be censored. And I'd like to mention that there have been a lot of cases where pedo rings were busted in England, in Norway, in Canada, in America, where it turned out they involve people in very high places. And at this point, I think the term Pizzagate is not so much just about Washington, D.C. pizza shops and this particular situation, but just about the fact that people are very suspicious that real pedo rings, it's not just like a couple of weirdos, in the neighborhood, hanging out at the playground, but it exists at high levels and it's organized and the people in it are very connected. And people kind of know that this stuff goes on, and they want there to be an end to this. They want it to be that no one is above the law and no one can get away with this kind of stuff, no matter how rich or connected they are. I think that's what the real outrage is that people believe that this stuff is ongoing. And you know what? It probably is. But at this point, there's just no evidence exactly of who's involved and who's doing what. I really care a lot about, children being harmed, obviously. Who with a soul doesn't? Now, I want to see justice served. People who do these things should be put in jail. Children need to be protected. We all need to be looking out for each other's children. And no one should be above the law. However, I think that you guys in my audience, most of you who are American, really appreciate the Constitution. And the Constitution does offer you protection against unreasonable search and seizure. In the same way, everyone has the right to due process and a fair trial. I think these laws are in place so that we don't go back to the old days. Those things are in place, to respect your rights and for your protection. The thing is, it applies to everyone. So someone who reads an internet rumor and decides, I'm going to go in there with a gun I mean, it's kind of hypocritical because these are the same people who would be totally outraged if the FBI did that. If the FBI came into anyone's place without a warrant, there would be an outcry. So what gives you the right to think that you could go and do that to someone else? Nobody should be doing that. Go down and ask questions, interviewing, journalism, that's one thing. Going in there with a gun and searching the place, that's something else. And I want to point out, people use the word truth a lot on their channels. They say, like, exposing the truth. And then the truth turns out to be just rumors. And they don't actually have any solid proof. So, you know, why are they saying that it's the truth? Because the Bible tells you not to bear false witness against your neighbor. So the weird thing is a lot of these people are Christians. And they're saying, you know, we're Christians and we're exposing the truth. But then really what they're doing is they're just giving their opinions about what they're speculating or what they're suspicious about. And then other people watch this and somehow come away with the conclusion that this is somehow proven when it isn't. So this is why I don't like to do that. I don't like to say, you know, this equals that for sure, Hillary Clinton eats babies or whatever it is. Because that would be bearing false witness as far as I'm concerned. And the Bible warns us not to do that. Nonetheless, the Bible doesn't say anything about not engaging in investigative journalism or discussing things in public forum. So people who cover this stuff should be careful not to be crossing those lines, you know, especially if you're Christians. Ask yourself in your heart, when I say this about this person, do I know this? Or am I bearing false witness? Should I really just say, I find this suspicious, or I find that suspicious? Or should I go a step further and say, this is the truth about this person? When I myself haven't witnessed this, and I don't know this to be the truth, ask yourself, is that honest? I mean, we don't need a nanny state to stop, you know, fake news. We need to be responsible when we report. And we also have to be responsible when we share. That's all we really have to do. Now look, I just want to get into that a little bit. EU threatens action if Facebook hate speech not censored in 24 hours. They're saying the unelected executive arm of the EU is threatening to escalate from non-legislative action if Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube do not censor what it considers illegal online speech within 24 hours. Well, we'll see how this goes. And it may not apply everywhere. I mean, this is EU, right? So it may apply to some countries and not others. But the problem is it's very difficult to draw the line. I mean, if you post something that isn't true, like I was just talking about, there's gossip and stuff. Is that hate speech? You know how much gossip goes on YouTube? Some of these big YouTubers, their whole channel is just based on that. It's going to be hard to rein that in. U.S. legislation proposes a new committee to counteract Russian covert influence. So now the idea in America is that, you know, it's the Russians that are behind all this stuff. It's a conspiracy. One more thing, survey finds most Americans say it's okay for web giants to censor fake news. They always take surveys if they want to know your opinion, but it's not because they really care what you think, it's because they want to know how they should direct their propaganda. And here's a funny thing, okay? At the bottom, it said, interestingly, credibility among news outlets varies. For example, CNN led cable news channels with 60% saying it's a credible news source. ABC was the highest ranked broadcast channel chosen by 67% of respondents as a credible source. Oh, these statistics. Now here's the good part. And 18% of respondents said The Onion is credible. What? The Onion? The Onion is a satire site. So what kind of morons did they interview? What is this opinion worth if these people, 18% of them, think The Onion is credible? What did they do? Solicit the opinion of morons? I mean, are people really that clueless? Maybe they are. I'm really dismayed that they think The Onion is credible. That's pretty bad. Anyway, I wouldn't worry too much because look at this. Facebook Zuckerberg goes into financial decline after threatening to censor fake news. It apparently has seen a sharp decline in corporate finances over the past 27 days. So you see, if they really lose a lot of money, they won't do it. But let's say they're pushing for it, and the stuff like somebody going into a pizza shop with a gun, they're going to use this to make their case for it. Please don't go into any place with a gun. And don't believe everything you read. And that's it. Let me know what you think. I have to go. Thanks for listening to me. Thanks for giving me a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time.